sign up, but thank you to my husband.
Thank you.
We have over 100 million gun owners in America. That's gun owners. That's not the number of guns. And the thing is, we only have about 5 million NRA members, National Rifle Association members. But make no mistake about it, when the other side starts talking about the NRA, they're talking about you, and you. And every other single gun owner in America. Anytime you hear them say the NRA, just think they're talking about you. They're talking about all gun owners and you personally. Sorry, it's windy up here. We have a lot of people against us. There's a lot of people against the gun owners. How many of you get the NRA magazines? Good. So you've seen this one. Harvey Weinstein. He's made some movies. He's made money on violence. And what's he going to do? He's from Hollywood, and Hollywood's against us. And Harvey Weinstein has vowed to take down the NRA. Again, that means take down you.
Good luck.
He said he's going to make the NRA wish it never been born. Who else is against us? The media is against us. You may have seen that ABC News' Diane Sawyer hosted a recent 2020 special about kids and guns. First of all, they cooked the numbers on kids and gunshot wounds. And then you know what they did? They had their cameras rolling, and they hid a gun in an open backpack in a bowl of toys. And they left preschoolers in the room unattended. Of course, they filmed it. What the heck did they think was going to happen? Fortunately, there was one kid who asked the question, why were those guns there in the first place? Smart little boy. Well, they did that for their ratings, is what they did. It was unbelievable and unforgivable. Of course, we know the Obama administration is against us. From Fast and Furious to the Surgeon General nominee, Dr. Vivek Murthy, they've been against us. The NRA has taken a stand on the Surgeon General nominee. They're going to count the votes towards their ratings, toward the legislators' ratings. And hey, did y'all hear this one? Just this week, Eric Holder. He wants gun owners to wear bracelets.
Hell no.
Yeah, my question is, guys, are you into wearing bracelets?
No.
Girls, what are we going to ask? Is it going to match what we're wearing? Does it look nice? And of course, all of us are going to ask, are our arms long enough for all the bracelets for all the guns we'll have? You got to think about that.
What technology do they have to not shut it off?
Seriously though, I'm not going to have my life depend on an electronic gadget whose battery might run out, or that the electronics might not work, or if we ever have an electromagnetic pulse attack, it would knock them out. Then your gun would be useless. Also, I'm not going to depend on something that even the police will not depend on. It's unreliable. Who else is against us? The United Nations. We've known for a long time now that they want to regulate our Second Amendment protected right out of existence. And I'm sad to say that they're closer than ever before. We're one Senate vote away from losing what makes our country the greatest country on earth, our Second Amendment protected right to keep and bear arms. Does the Second Amendment give us the right to keep and bear arms? No. What it actually does is protects that inherent right to defend ourselves. It says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Right in there. It's recognizing that we have that right and that it should not be infringed. The Obama administration, through John Kerry, has signed the UN's Arms Trade Treaty, or the ATT. In signing the treaty, John Kerry said, "This treaty will not diminish anyone's freedom."
Bullshit.
This is from the same administration that said, if you like your doctor and your health care plan, you can keep your doctor and your health care plan. How's that working?
Harry's a traitor. Oh, wait, she just retired.
Yeah. A while ago, I asked how many of you get an NRA magazine. That tells me how many people here are actually NRA members. There should be a lot more of us, especially in Pennsylvania. It's the NRA that stands between the world's despots and our Second Amendment. It's the NRA that takes the hits for all the U.S. gun owners, and with only 5 million members. I understand that there's other organizations out there, and you know what? I say this all the time. That's great. Join as many pro-gun organizations as you can, because you know what? We're all in the same war. We do different battles, but we're all in the same war. We should have 5 times as many members in every organization here in Pennsylvania. Of course, you're all familiar with the words life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It doesn't say anywhere anything about a right to not be offended. If someone's offended by what I believe in, then so be it. It's what I believe. I believe if you shoot little children, you're mentally ill. I believe if you have armed adults in schools, you can stop attacks on our children.
That's right.
I believe that our military should be armed on their own bases.
That's right.
I will not apologize for who I am and what I believe. I will not apologize for that. I will not apologize for being proud to be a conservative. I will not apologize for owning a firearm. I will not apologize for carrying a firearm. I will not apologize for believing in the Constitution of the United States of America. I will not apologize for believing in the Bill of Rights. I will not apologize for believing in the Second Amendment. And I will not apologize for believing in the greatness of the people of this country. And I am proud to be a member, and I will not apologize for being a member of the National Rifle Association.
There you go. Yeah.
And I will not apologize for being proud to be a part of the greatest civil rights organization in the world, the National Rifle Association.
There you go. Yeah.
Thank you, Maria, for that great speech. I am proud to have her here today. Next is Kyle, one of my admins. He is a Utah firearms instructor. How's everybody doing today? Yeah.
All right.
All right. That's right. I want to talk to you guys about a number real quick, and that number is 3%.
Yeah.
While seemingly inconsequential, it is in actuality anything but. During the very first fight for our nation's freedom against an enemy whose forces were by all appearances far superior to those of our forefathers, 3% of the colonists stood, fought, and died so that their dream of a free country could be realized. That's it. Only 3% of the colonists proactively fought the king, and we won. All of you gathered here today number among the modern 3%. That is something that you should take great pride in. While we may be a minority, we are a determined minority, not unlike the original 3%. And like those who came before us, we will prevail against the king. We will win again.
There you go.
Yeah. The question then becomes, how do we win? The answer is simple. We utilize the 3 boxes of liberty: the ballot box, the jury box, and finally, as a last resort, the ammunition box.
Yeah.
The last one needs no explanation. It's the reset button that our forefathers provided us. It is a button that I sincerely and fervently hope that we never need to push. For if we do, it will mean that every other mechanism that has provided us has failed. I do not believe that it should ever come to that if we do our part here today. The ballot box is where our battles must be fought and won. It is the first line of defense against tyranny. When it comes to electing the people who will safeguard our freedom, nothing is more important than possessing knowledge, as knowledge is power. Knowledge of what their stances are, knowledge of their pre-political past, and knowledge of their prior legislative actions. Only through being armed with this knowledge can we ensure that the right people are being elected into positions of power, and more importantly, that the wrong people are not. This can only be accomplished through dedicated activism. Take the time to educate yourself and then share that knowledge with everyone around you. I think we're under attack, guys. I don't know. Most people gain their so-called knowledge of political candidates from the advertisements that they see on the leftist-controlled media. We need to change this. Try to engage a different person every single day and talk to them about the direction that our great nation is currently heading and explain to them the direction that it needs to go. It is past time that we effectively mobilize as a community and finally engender the change that is so long overdue. It is important to understand that politicians are not the only group controlled by the ballot box. In many cases, it is the judges who interpret and enforce these laws. Those who have followed what has happened here in Erie know all too well the danger that an activist judge poses. A judge whose misapplication of the law as it is written was so gross it should cost him his job.
Yeah! Didn't take a lot.
The jury box is the next tool that we need to utilize. When we see that our rights are being trampled, we need to actively combat it. It is vitally important, however, to make sure that we as a community have our ducks in a row prior to setting out on that course, as Justin and Josh did. Being knowledgeable, being cohesive, and being well-funded are all things that need to be addressed before the outset. We cannot rush into something too fast or half-cocked. Instead, we must take a deliberate approach, for failure is not an option. Justin was able to utilize the jury box in his fight for our freedom. He has demonstrated something else, too, that we must embrace, and that is perseverance. Even when faced with great adversity, Justin stayed the course, and it is largely through that perseverance that we were successful. That is something that we should all learn from. The third box that we touched on briefly, the ammunition box, is an absolute last resort. That is the option that we take when there is nothing left for us to do. It is the final line of defense against tyranny. Nothing else really needs to be said about that. As I look out across the number today, I see a few of those oh-so-evil AR-15s that the liberal media is always crying about. The ones that, according to California State Senator Kevin De Leon, can, quote, disperse with 30 bullets within half a second. 30 magazine clip in half a second.
Asshole.
Is it a ghost gun?
That would be the ghost gun, yeah. Woo! That's the one.
Finance gun of war. I have the original.
There it is. There it is.
One shot.
Cerebral assassins like Mr. De Leon are the ones who would seek to curtail your freedom. They use tired, nonsensical arguments and attempt to pluck the heartstrings of Americans nationwide. Their arguments are based entirely on emotion, without a shred of fact or truth to be found. The worst of this lately has been perpetrated by a group known as Moms Demand Action. They would have our fellow Americans believe that all guns, and specifically AR-15s, are the epitome of evil. What they won't tell people, though, is the truth. According to the FBI's annual Uniform Crime Report, from 2007 to 2011, the use of rifles of any kind used to commit a crime decreased from 453 to 323 from the beginning of that time period to the end. When using all of the data collected during those 5 years, rifles of any kind were used to commit 375 murders on average per year. When compared to the numbers of AR-15 style rifles in circulation nationwide, let alone the number of any style of rifle, that number is so statistically insignificant that it is laughable. Comparatively, during the same years, hands were used to kill roughly twice as many people per year on average. So why aren't these groups advocating that we literally disarm everyone? While they may try to play off people's emotions, we can refute their erroneous claims at every turn using logic, sound reasoning, and fact. They cannot match that, no matter how many dead bodies they may seek to dance upon. In conclusion, I would sincerely like to thank you for coming on behalf of Open Carry PA, myself, and Pennsylvanians across this state. You are the ones who will make the difference. The time for talking about what we should do has passed us. It is now time to actually do things that will secure our freedom, not only for us, but for our children and their children's children. Edmund Burke once said, "All that is necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing." We will not let the evil succeed. We are Americans, we are Pennsylvanians, and we will win. I'm going to turn this over now to Mr. Kim Stolfer, head of the FOAC. This man has done more for Pennsylvania gun owners than many will ever realize. Mr. Stolfer.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Pennsylvanians, Americans. How you doing today? Hoorah! At a young age, I joined the United States Marine Corps.
Thank you.
Was sent over to Vietnam. I'm here before you today as president of an organization that I have the honor to lead a bunch of activist volunteers, and to express my thanks to the Erie PA, to add my voice to that. Justin and all your friends, you're to be commended. And I say that from the bottom of the heart, my heart, for a person who's fought for your right to bear arms for the last 30 years. Not because I wanted money, not because I wanted fame, but because it was the right thing to do, because I have friends on the Vietnam Wall. Because that's what it costs. You separate it all the great words that have been spoken here today, it doesn't mean anything if we don't stand by it. Right. Justin Dillon and his friends, the Erie 8, did. You have no idea how rare that is. We have over 4 million gun owners in Pennsylvania. Why aren't there 1,000 of us here today? So I want to ask you a question. Have you seen the movie Braveheart?
Yeah. Wow.
You remember the crazy Irishman that said it's my Ireland?
Hey.
I'm going to challenge each of you because my speech is going to be a little different. I'm going to talk to you about what it's going to take to win. From castle doctrine to license to carry firearms and everything in between, many of you have no idea of the battles that have been fought on your behalf. I'm not telling you this because you have to donate money. I'm telling you this because each one of you have a decision to make. We are under assault today from misinformed, misanthropic little minds in municipal areas like Erie, all the way to D.C., who believe that what we believe in, our right to bear arms, they believe that that is somehow indicative of a mindset that is contributing to problems in America, that we are criminals. The Attorney General says that we need to have bracelets to identify us as gun owners.
You should have shackles on him.
But in all of this, what you see is a reflection of the fact that they think that you don't care. So I want to read something to you. Want you to think about this. What this is a little report from Ceasefire PA, an organization I have especially low regard for. I stopped in their offices. They're supposed to be a group that's dedicated to the people. Anybody here support Ceasefire PA?
No.
No, they say 99% of gun owners do.
Right.
If you know somebody that does, help them come see me. I'll play whack-a-mole with them. It says here, when I stopped in their offices, I took a camera because I expected this. I want you to know the kind of organization that's here. Dear Mr. Stolfer, I learned of your intrusion into our offices today and your harassment of my staff. I object to your unauthorized presence and the way in which you treated my staff. Enclosed is a copy of the 990 form you requested. I mention this because organizations have to comply with the law, even ones that believe in gun control. What I received was inadequate by law, but it also revealed where the money comes from. George Soros funds predominantly most of the money for the Joyce Foundation. Ceasefire, just one aspect, got $325,000 from the Joyce Foundation to take away your freedoms. It's not funded by the people, ladies and gentlemen. This organization works as paid assassins to take your rights. When you leave here today, when you think about all the good things Justin did and his friends, when you think about the great words you heard, I want you to understand that this is a pitched battle. In the Marine Corps, this is what's called total war. You either believe that it's your right to bear arms is being taken, or they will come into your house and they will take from you the freedom, our heritage, and our property. Justin made a decision. He stood up and he put his fortune and his fame and his good word on the line. Each one of you needs to make that same decision. Because Ceasefire PA, and I can guarantee you this, because just 2 weeks ago I was in Harrisburg fighting for giving people the power to stop and end preemption law violations like this, House Bill 2011. And Ceasefire PA, using that money, buried that legislation under a deluge of amendments. And the Republican leadership, Mike Turzai and Sam Smith, let us down, acquiesced to those political terrorists. These are the same people who don't like it when you investigate what they do. They use that money to take your freedoms and to stop us from defending ours. I want you to think about that, because coming up, we have a chance to get involved with elections. Josh Prince told you that we need to get involved more. If we don't, then the outcome is going to be much worse than you can believe. What was transforming to me was seeing those gun owners standing in a line in Connecticut. I have always believed I can educate and inform and work with most of the legislators in Pennsylvania. But when you see those gun owners standing in that line in Connecticut, each one of you should ask the question, is that what those white crosses in Arlington Cemetery mean? My friends, your family, your heritage. When you see gun owners sitting on their ass and not doing what they need to do, you should challenge them. When they walk around gun shows more worried about spending 10 cents less on a bullet mold instead of getting their butt out and donating, remember, $500,000. And that's just one aspect of it. Mayors Against Illegal Guns gave Ceasefire $3 million. We either get out and work hard, or they will bury us like they did House Bill 2011. And I, for one, will never yield. I can guarantee you, and I'll say it right now, you will never see me standing in line to register my guns. You will never, ever see me doing that. I fought for this country. My family fought for this country. Your families fought for this country, not to see our freedoms washed down the drain because of the ambivalence of our fellow citizens. We can stop this. I have stopped it. My friends have helped me stop this. You can do more, each one of you. I'm challenging each one of you now. You either do more and get involved, or these people are going to take from you what's hanging around your necks, what's on your side. And yes, I'm carrying a firearm, not because it's not open carry, because I'm cold. Because April 19th, I got a liver transplant. I was told I'm not supposed to be doing this. But I'm here for you. I've been here for you.
Thank you.
You need to be here for you too. Again, you've had great words today. But when you think about this, when you leave here, Ceasefire PA is sitting in the room, the Sergeant-at-Arms room in Harrisburg, calling legislators off the floor to berate them and offer them bribes, just like they did the Philly legislators. They are working to undermine your freedoms. They're doing it every single day in Harrisburg. This is total war. You need to fight them at every step and turn, whether it's in the letters to the editor, whether it's going out walking door to door for a politician, or challenging them at debates. Take some time. Please. I beseech you. I don't do this for money. If you trust what I'm telling you, you must believe that your involvement is the answer. It's not the involvement with Firearms Owners Against Crime. It's not the involvement of the NRA. You, each one of you, are going to make the difference. Or you're going to be the cause of the loss of freedom. You choose. When you leave here today, you choose. Because our sacrifices over the last 30 years have stopped us from becoming Connecticut. They're pointing their finger at us now. Mayors Against Illegal Guns is here. And I know people give police officers a break when they enforce laws. I'm here to tell you, I swore an oath to the Constitution that I never reneged on. They swear an oath as well. If they don't know the difference between swearing an oath to the Constitution and enforcing an unjust law, just like I was told I had the responsibility to stop illegal acts as a Marine, then it's time for them to retire. Give up their badge, because that's not what being a law enforcement officer is about.
Right.
That's the Nuremberg defense, and it's not valid here. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close with this. Our founding fathers knew what it took to make a country. Please ask yourselves, do you know what it takes to keep one? Semper Fi, God bless. Let's do it again. Come on.
Stand by, I gotta change the battery. Check, check, okay. And the show goes on.
Thank you, Kim, for coming here today and speaking. That was a really great speech. My next speaker is Jane McPherson. She's running for state senator in District 50.
Thank you, Justin. And and the 8 of you, and everybody that's done this is in my eyes. Okay. Everybody that's done everything to make today happen. And I think we owe a big round of applause and thank you for everybody that was part of putting this on together today. So. My name is Jane McPherson. I'm running for state senator, and a lot of times people ask me, well, why are you running? And I've never been elected to political office before, and I have 4 children that who are currently serving or have served to protect the freedoms of our country.
Thank you. Thank you.
In about in September of 2008, I was watching the TV and watching the news, and I started my first letter writing campaign based on what I was following on the news. And I didn't feel like our legislators were listening to us. And then as that progressed, I joined a Tea Party in Mercer County, Pennsylvania, and from there we developed Patriots in Action, and we started meeting every week and every month, and we started talking about, how can we be patriots in action and not know what's going on the federal level. So we would meet and we would talk about how many of you guys have gotten together with your friends and read through the Constitution? Good. Keep passing it on. We have to not just, when I was in high school, the Constitution was dry and boring. And one of the things that I've learned is that when you're reading the Constitution and then reading the bills that are coming out of Washington, D.C., your eyes pop out of your head. So we'd gotten used to that, started reading bills, started understanding how to read a bill, started watching the Constitution be violated over and over and over again. And about 2 years ago, we started watching what they're doing in Harrisburg. And once again, we're reading, most people didn't even know there is a PA Constitution. We started studying the PA Constitution, and we started studying what the bills that they're producing out of Harrisburg. And we start doing our letter writing campaigns to our state representatives and our state senators over there in Harrisburg. And imagine that. Very little response. And here we think if enough people get together, we could really make a difference. And what makes today so inspirational is that enough people did get together, and they did make a difference on the Second Amendment. But we can't stop now. A couple things that I really like to stress is that from my website, McPherson4PA.com, is a link to read the PA Constitution. If you haven't read the PA Constitution, read the PA Constitution. From the website is a link to where you can find the bills. If you haven't already got your regular emails coming from the state telling you what the latest bill is, sign up to get the latest bill. From the website, I would hope everybody here today is all registered to vote. And if you're not, get registered, because our power comes in the ballot box. And then finally, one of the things that I've noticed is that how can we complain who our president is when we have empty precincts in our area? And what I've noticed throughout the state of Pennsylvania, our voice comes from being a precinct committee person. And for the most part, half of our precincts are empty. And the precincts determine, so what we need to do, if we want to change who's going to be our president in 2016, we have to change who our precinct committee people are in 2014. So if your precinct does not have somebody that's Liberty run against them, a precinct committee person has an obligation to go to 2 meetings per year, and then to be at the voting booths for the primaries and be at the voting booths for the general election. And if we're going to change, we have to all start stepping up and taking some kind of action, gathering together and reading as a group the PA Constitution. The PA Constitution is the Second Amendment in the U.S. Constitution says thou shalt not infringe. The PA Constitution is even better. It says thou shalt not even question. Learn what the vital greatness of what our state was founded on. But I'd really like to encourage you guys all to get active and start doing whatever you can to protect all of our amendments and all of our rights. Thank you.
All right, I would like to welcome Sean Maloney, from an attorney from Ohio. He came all the way from Ohio. Please give him a round of applause, please.
I'd like to thank you all for welcoming me back home. I was born and raised in Corey, Pennsylvania, and when I got a call from Justin and Josh, I wouldn't be in a better place than I am right now. And I can probably say, without a doubt, that I am in the safest park in the United States. So thank you everybody for being here. I'm also leader of Buckeye Farms Association. This year we're celebrating 10 years of concealed carry in Ohio. We fought for years for concealed carry in Ohio, and it's been in existence for Pennsylvania much, much longer. So we all need to appreciate what you've done in the past, and I want to let you know that today should be a celebration, but in no way should it be the final celebration, because, folks, it just began. Bloomberg shows up everywhere. I've traveled the United States this year. Last September, I was in Colorado. I successfully helped recall 2 state senators from Colorado that took Bloomberg money and promised to change the Constitution and the firearms rights in Colorado. They did. We threw them out. You want MAG and you want Bloomberg out of Erie, Pennsylvania? Throw them out. Vote them out. It doesn't end, folks. You want pro-gun legislation? You want your rights upheld? You want to be able to say that somebody has your back at the election box? Throw them out. Put the people you want in. You know who they are. Let's make it happen, because you can do it. You have to understand that every morning someone gets out of bed and their feet hit the ground and they're trying to figure out a way to take away your civil rights. Every morning when you get out of bed, you have to say, what am I going to do today? Who am I going to call? Who am I going to write a letter to? Who am I going to email? And what am I going to do to make it better for me? And I always point out to people when they're asked, why do you do this? Why do we all do this? How can we not do it to represent and to thank the people that died for this right to keep and bear arms? And then what are we going to tell our kids 20 years from now when they say, Dad, Mom, what did you do to help keep our rights? And that's important that we all keep in mind that the fight never ends because someone's always trying to take something away. As a member of Buckeye Farms Association, we enacted preemption probably 4 years ago. And we have a little problem in Ohio with the city of Cleveland. They like the mayor of Erie, banned firearms in certain parks in Cleveland. We used our preemption laws, Buckeye Firearms did, and we sued Cleveland. And we won. And they did it again, and we sued Cleveland, and we won again. Well, Cleveland doesn't sue us anymore, or doesn't violate the preemption laws in the state of Ohio anymore, because one thing that we do have in our preemption laws are a little bit of teeth. If we win, they pay. Yeah. And there's nothing finer than to beat Cleveland, Ohio, and to watch them stroke a check to our attorneys for their mistakes. And so I hope that you get those same teeth in preemption, because, folks, right now, when it's time to re-elect your mayor, he's got to justify to his constituents why he wasted his money to try to defend the destruction of your rights in this park. Look across the street. Think about how silly that is. I can have a firearm across the street. I step across the sidewalk in this park. My Second Amendment rights end. That's what we're dealing with in our public offices. And again, the great thing about America still is we have a right to throw them out and vote them out. So make sure that you take every opportunity just to talk to your friends. Sometimes your parents, your wives, your daughters, your husbands, and let them know that the fight never ends. What can you do? Pick up the telephone. Call somebody. Get a hold of Justin. Give him your email address. Give him your phone number, because trust me, this is going to happen again, and he's going to need your help again. And when that help is needed, it's very easy just to be able to hit an email and to get everybody gathered again together. So I want to thank you for having me here. There's also some information. I've been a criminal defense attorney for going on 25 years. The past 7 years, I've concentrated my practice solely, I like to call myself a self-defense attorney now. Everything I do deals with firearms law, that deals with people who lawfully and legally carry a firearm for self-defense. What I found over my practice of law is that we as law-abiding citizens, when we're forced to pull the trigger to defend ourselves, our loved ones, or somebody else, it's we who are now considered the defendant. We don't have the resources resources to fight public call, to fight the prosecutor's office. So I created a membership organization called Second Call Defense. You saw some of that information being passed out. Justin has information on it. Take a good look at it. It's for a small membership fee. You'll have immediate bond money, immediate attorney, and immediate representation if you need it, if you're ever forced to use your firearm in self-defense. But I also just want to reiterate again that the fight doesn't stop here. It begins here, and don't give it up. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, I would like to introduce Tony from Freedom of Pale. They came all the way from New York State to come and represent with us. When you guys are done, if you haven't yet, it'd be really appreciated that if you go over there and look at their shirts and see what they have. They also have fluffy size for us men with fluffy issues. So if you can, just go over there, Chris, go over there and get your fluffy size shirts. That'd be really great. And welcome Tony here to Erie, Pennsylvania.
All right, how's the resistance doing today? We are the resistance. Everybody here, who is the resistance? They are the good guys. Just like this yellow Gadsden flag, we stand for defense. Never the aggressor, not the assertive one. We defend freedom and people. I'm an activist in the Buffalo area for about 7 years. I mainly study history. I study monetary theory. I study world government, geopolitical. I study power. That is the key word. And we need to get back to basics because we are steered and have been re-educated away from it. Now, there's two favorite sayings right now. Milan Labey, and if you lose your Second Amendment rights, you're going to lose all your rights. I'm going to talk about loss of rights in a minute. But what's Milan Labey? Many people know. It's an ancient Greek battle between the Spartans and the Persians, and the Persians said, give up your weapons. Now remember, this isn't gunpowder, it's swords. And the response to Milan Labey is come and take, meaning I will not comply. Why? Because when people in power are armed and the common man isn't, you are at that mercy. That's what it's really all about, and people don't understand this basics. Okay? Now, we're going to make a connection between all of us and our founding fathers. Okay? I speak at the Scope Educational Forums all across New York State. We have Gia. She's 24, a mother of 3 daughters. She's married. They have a home. They're struggling a small business. You should hear her speak on non-compliance and civil disobedience. We put on an awesome show, okay? Hardcore, right to the basics about power. Now, your founding fathers, they were students of history too, and everybody here needs to study history. All your answers and what the problems are in history. It's why people need to carry tools, such as these, okay? Years ago it was swords, in years ahead it'll be electronic devices. So where did our founding fathers, we contribute liberty and freedom, where did they learn this stuff, okay? They didn't invent the word liberty. There was a document actually 1,000 years ago, this is before the Magna Carta, and it had to do with limiting the power of the king. And there's all the way to documents up to 1689, which is the British Bill of Rights. They learned that's where they learned freedom from. That actually is our history, coming from the British history. So they had their rights infringed upon, okay? And they got themselves in a revolution. We are in a revolution. A revolution is not violence. A revolution is understanding there's something wrong. What are we going to do about it? Olive branching, discussing, debating. Unfortunately, their revolution turned into an armed rebellion. Then they formed a loose confederation and Articles of Confederation. 13 colonies that were actually 13 countries. Okay, so they win their battle, they win their freedom. 10 years later, they decide to get together and they have to tweak their articles. Okay, there was division, just like there always is. You have the Anti-Federalists and the Federalists. The Federalists had noted names like George Washington, James Madison. Your Anti-Federalists were Thomas Jefferson. And John Jay was a Federalist. Okay, the Anti-Federalists were for small, limited government, and they lost the argument. They lost. It's that simple, okay? So I think out of desperation in my study, they handed and said, we're going to have a Bill of Rights. That was out of desperation. It wasn't because they intended to be it. They had to do something. They knew there was going to be a problem 30 years or 200 years, okay? The Bill of Rights, if you go through that, there's a lot of debate between constitutional attorneys. I take this side. I'm with this group. There's no such thing as constitutional rights. Because if you say that, you're saying that the government's giving you rights. They're in control. Look at your Bill of Rights. Look at the keywords in the first 10. In almost every one, you're going to see the word Congress shall not. Not. Shall not. Not. It's telling the government you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do that. It limits the power of government. That's what the Bill of Rights really does. Now, when you take the Constitution and the Bill of Rights together as a unit, it serves one purpose. The Constitution and the Bill of Rights does only one thing. The governing aspects of it must be followed in order to have a free humanity. It's that simple. It was done to maintain for you to be free. The basics of all creatures. All creatures are meant to be free. All living things. We're just at the top of the pole. That's why that was in place. The Founding Fathers weren't just the greatest smart people or something like that. They just studied history of all power, how the common people get destroyed by those in power. And they put this together and say, hey, listen, if you want to be free, you got to have this, you got to have that, and that's the way it's got to be, including your money supply. Okay? That's what it's all about. That's what the Constitution's about. The Bill of Rights is to keep you free, and you have to keep that going. Now I'm going to talk about one more thing. That was just a little history. I'm going to talk about redirecting the argument. We go out and we vend on the weekends. We do a lot of family events, so I have a lot of people that come up, consider us our adversaries, and they want to debate, and they want to argue, okay? The whole argument, what they're doing is they're saying they're concentrating on the common man killing the common man. And if you stay in that argument, you're staying in that box. People such as like gay rights and stuff, they won because they took everything out of the box. And the problem is we're staying in this box of arguing, why does the common man kill the man? Get out of that. I move right out of it. The first question I ask a person when they come up and say, what's this all about? I say is, do you believe that people in power today are any different than they were 1,000 years ago? And instantly they're like, whoa, that's a heavy question. I go, well, what do you think? I go, well, no. I mean, like kind of like bad people, people in power. Immediately I talk about power. There's no such thing to me as right, left, black, white. We're the commoners. We're all the commoners, and you have a very big, powerful structure. It is no different than has gone on through history. It's like the Robin Hood movies. They basically keep us around to tax us. Then they take the money and funnel it where they want to go because they have the power to do so. I'll give you an example. The Federal Reserve gave trillions of our tax money to all these foreign countries, and they have the power to not have to tell us where that money goes. That's power, folks. We're just ants and flies to these people. They're in control. That's what this is about. It's why you're here carrying an arm. It's supposed to be because the Second Amendment does not declare that you have a right to defend yourself, your property, or your family. The Second Amendment declares that you have a right to have tools and weaponry to keep the power of government in check if they infringe on your rights to be free. That's what it's all about. And that's where you want to move the argument. As soon as they, like Cuomo, you know his thing was about the Albany? Well, they're just exercising their gun rights. See, to me, there's no such thing as gun rights. It's a natural thing to defend yourself. And it's natural to have to keep the power of check in government. So I don't stay in that argument. Move right out, and you have to study power. That's what your founding fathers did. That's what everybody has to do. It's about power, and talk about that. As soon as people start talking about killing other people, I don't even discuss it. I say, listen, don't you accept that people kill each other, and they rape, and they burglar, and are negligent? Humans have always done that. They always will. And that's the way it is. You can't just make every law to try and make us the perfect human in the perfect society. Because it's not going to happen by force. Because we're becoming pets, folk. That's what's happening. They're telling us what we can eat. Here's your choices of what you can eat. Health insurance. You don't own your health insurance. I mean, your health records. I went to get my health records. They said it's 25 cents a copy. That's the most personal thing in your life. You're not in control of it. That's what they talk about freedom. It's not getting on a corner and speaking. You've lost your freedom. I don't own mine. If you owned your medical records, you'd be like in that movie Roadhouse, where he went in and he went to get stitches, took his medical records in, she wrote them, he put them back in his pocket, went home. You got to get back to basics. That's what I'm trying to get to you. When they talk about the man killing common man, get right off of it and get right into start studying power. and talk about people in power, all of us commoners, and that's how we're going to unite all people. We got to get away from division and into unity. Okay, folks? And you heard a lot of great speakers tonight. You heard about getting involved and everything you can. I'd like to thank you. Everybody would like to thank you for coming. I really appreciate you letting me speak. I hope I see you again, and let's keep fighting for our freedom. Okay, folks?
Okay, guys, that's going to wrap it up. I want to thank everybody for coming out today. Stop by our vendor, say thank you, grab a T-shirt, keep the fight going. Now, our attorney, he is right here. If you need to talk to him real quick, bend his ear. He's got to go. Now, Justin and the guys are going to take their victory walk up the street, come on back down around Perry Square, and do the victory lap. Again, this is the guy that did the fight.